If you're house hunting in Guelph right now, I want you to hear this clearly. Some of the nicer homes on the market, I would probably walk away from. And that generally surprises people. On the surface, they look perfect. Fresh paint, beautiful kitchen, fresh staging. But in a market like Guelph's in right now, and to be honest, so is the Greater Toronto Area, where in Guelph specifically, the average price point has been hovering in the mid 700,000s. And not to mention, more listings are sitting a little bit longer. The real risk is buying something that quietly costs you over time. Costs you, of course, your time, your money, your peace of mind, and that's after the excitement of owning wears off. So today I want to walk you through the types of homes I personally avoid, and I've counseled clients to at least looking at a different perspective and truly why they matter in today's market. Hi, I'm Varsha and I sell real estate in Guelph and the Greater Toronto Area, and I work every day with buyers who are smart, informed, insightful, and intentional, but they still feel overwhelmed by choice. And that makes sense. See, when the market slows down and inventory builds, decision making actually gets harder, not easier. So in this video, I really want to offer you discernment. Let's get into it. Here's something important to understand before we even talk about specific homes. That's in fast markets, buyers overlook risk because they're comparing. In a slower, more balanced market, like Guelph and the Greater Toronto Area are in right now, risk shows up differently. See, homes are taking longer to sell. Buyers are inspecting more carefully, and your resale value matters now more than it did a couple years ago. So the question isn't just, do I love this house? It's kind of, will this house love me back? Financially, emotionally, and if I ever choose to offload it down the line, as in long term. Let's get into the style of homes I might dissuade you from buying. 1, older homes. They're beautiful, but not always practical. And let me just say this right up front, I love older homes. In my heart, I am a character home loving person. You know, there's details there that you just don't see anymore. And even the energy that's within those walls, you can't just manufacture that. And I get that. But would I buy one without careful consideration? Of course not. You see, in Guelph, many of our older properties can run 80 to 100 to 120 years old. And even when they've been renovated, the bones of the home still matter. So here are some of the common places where people get caught off guard. Older homes generally have galvanized pipes, which can corrode over time. Replacing them isn't just cosmetic, it's invasive and expensive. Second, and a big one, electrical. Knob and tube wiring or even aluminum wiring may be hidden behind walls. And even updated wiring from decades ago. I mean, keep in mind, some of these older homes are 80, 100, 120 years old, and even those updated wiring can be reaching the end of their lifespan now. 3, insulation. Okay, asbestos was commonly used in pipe insulation, flooring, ceilings, and removing it safely requires professionals. And yet again, that can add up quickly. Then of course, there are the charming factors of when you're living there. The really steep staircases. I speak from experience as someone who has a knee injury. Sometimes navigating these older homes and the steep staircases or the crawl spaces or the super low ceilings and sometimes the awkward layout, it's a bit of a challenge. And add to that some of the criteria that a lot of buyers look for today, like mud rooms or storage or just a general flow. A lot of those older homes are pretty segmented, and good luck finding a mudroom. So if you're upsizing, planning for kids, thinking long-term, even from a mobility standpoint, these aren't just little quirks. They're daily friction. And I don't know about you, I'm generally trying to lessen that friction. So given today's real estate market and buyers having much more choice, I'd rather see someone buy something structurally solid and adaptable than this romantic notion that you're holding on to. Moving on, second, homes in flood-prone areas. I know what you're thinking. You're like, is that for real in the Greater Toronto Area and even Guelph? It is actually. And to some it's obvious, but it's also easily overlooked. And you know what's the most tricky part? Most of these homes have never actually flooded. So sellers could say, we've lived here 20 years, we've never had a flood, but that doesn't really change your risk. See, I'm talking about homes located in that 100 to 500 year flood zone areas. Flood insurance in Ontario can be expensive expensive. And in some cases, it can also be limiting. And extreme weather is not theoretical anymore. I mean, just look outside your window right now. So in Guelph, I mean, we have the beautiful Aramosa River flowing through and the areas adjacent to the river, or even in the Greater Toronto area where you're close to conservation areas that have streams and rivers, or even access to lakes. See, low-lying land require extra diligence, and flood risks don't always show up on the listing, especially when you're looking at such urban centers. So something to keep in mind, especially with our weather patterns changing. Okay, 3, and I love talking about this one, generally look good on camera, but when you come have a closer look, it tells a totally different story. And this one is a big one right now. See, flipped homes can be great when they're done property. It means you as a buyer are just walking in and you have absolutely nothing to do. It's move-in ready, which is the ultimate for a buyer, especially given today's slightly higher purchase prices. And I know I said slightly higher. You might be thinking, Varsha, you're way off. It's way higher. Agreed. It really depends on your market. But if I'm talking to you about the homes that I've recently visited in Guelph and the GTA, I see quite a few homes that were rushed in terms of the flip. Fresh paint, trendy lighting, trendy white plank floors. And underneath, you can see the corners have been cut. You'll often spot it in really small ways, like trim that doesn't just line up, or uneven finishes, or that spongy feeling under your feet when you're walking, or even sometimes bulges in walls or ceilings, doors that don't close quite right. See, these things matter because if the visible work looks sloppy, you as a buyer are immediately going to think, well, what's happening behind those walls then? See, you have the gift of a slower market right now with a lot of choice, so use it to your advantage. Inspections can take a little bit longer. They can be more thorough. And in these slower markets, buyers ask great questions. And flipped homes don't get the same free pass that they used to because you're not rushed. And you're starting to notice where corners have been cut. So if a home was bought and they're trying to offload it really quickly, as in a flip, ask questions, look deeper. A good flip really adds value. And I think we know a bad flip generally transfers the risk back to the buyer. Okay, and number 4, this one's an interesting one, and it's the overly customized home. When you overly custom fit a home, it can actually limit your resale. And I generally, and sometimes it's not even that I have to talk to my buyer through our walkthrough, they're already looking at the home and seeing how custom fit it is to the current owner, that they've automatically just removed it from their list of potentials. See, for example, we were doing a walkthrough of a home and it had a giant aquarium in it. I'm talking huge. It was like a focal point in the living room. While that speaks to the current sellers and the current owners, it actually limits the pool of people that are going to find that interesting. And of course, you should make your home and custom fit it the way you want it to. But if you're looking to offload it and I'm walking a buyer through, I'm letting them know just how expensive it could be to remove this aquarium years from now. So uniqueness is great if it truly adds such a beautiful, cohesive flow to the home and adds to that resale value. But sometimes that uniqueness can actually really limit your home and it can take longer to sell. So a buyer is walking through the home and seeing, is this really something that I want, or is this a project for me down the line? Would you as a buyer have to pay to remove this feature later? And does this improve the home or does it just personalize it? Sometimes neutral is powerful. So here's the thing. As a buyer, you're generally going to want to walk through and look at the home and you're going to want to custom fit, right? In your mind, you're looking at spaces and you're thinking, does this fit my future lifestyle? Does this fit my current lifestyle? I usually encourage buyers to think about their future options in the home as well. And that's why you should definitely work with someone who's going to gather information for you, like the scope of the work involved in the home, if it was flipped, if there's a renovation, if they've done any updates to electrical. You want to know who did the work, when was it done, is there a permit for some of this work? You're going to want to gather these details so you can make a better decision on a home. Patience is to your advantage in this market, but so is the power of making an informed decision. So don't compromise on your fundamentals. If you're buying in Guelph or the Greater Toronto area and you're trying to figure out if a home is a good fit for you, this is exactly the kind of conversation I guide clients through on a daily basis, and I'd love to chat with you. And if we've never actually spoken before, kind of want to reach out, please drop a comment below. I read every one of them and I'm so curious, are there any other style of homes that you might not buy in today's market or ever? If this helped you at all, please stay connected. I'd encourage you to subscribe and I'll see you on the next video.